Today we are here to discuss the Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill 2013. CREDAI represented now for last few years on this issue. Our fears are very basic. One, whether it's true regulator or mere a consumer pleasing document. Two, whether this will regulate all stakeholders of this industry and whether it will contribute to the development, as the title says. But alas, this bill to me appears to be a pure political advantage document. This may turn out to be a legislation like Urban Land Ceiling Act, where motive was great but result was negative. The cost escalated, the speculation increased, and everything went out of hand. Why I say so? First, this bill fails to understand the basic business of real estate development. Real estate development business is high capital intensive business. We have to generate funds much before we dig the ground. Banks don't fund for land. So there are instruments which are prior to the regular sales happen. Now this bill prohibits sale in any form, even to investor, and if violated, you are behind bar for 3 years. So be it. Then government should talk about funding land purchase, funding premiums that has to be paid to corporation, funding the lease premium you have to pay to government, state government, etc. If not, then the quantum that a person can execute will get reduced. It will work against the intent of providing shelter. Then comes, what is the procedure that you are adopting? We said, look, this business is very peculiar. Every human contact in this business, for any license, for any registration, for any NOC, for any approval, means money. Now, if this is way of life, if this is the writing on the wall, can you say that no, this will not happen here? We said make it online registration. We comply online, we get registration online. That's not considered here. The regulator shall register within 15 days. Now there are ways and means how queries can be raised and registration can be delayed or rejected. Are we not getting in one additional window which will promote or which will be breeding ground of corruption? Then what you say? You say there are number of penalties that can be levied. And penalties, I think the drafting person has been very fond of 5% and 10%. So for anything and everything, though per day penalties are provided, there is a penalty of 5% to 10% of the cost. Then what happens? In remotest possibility, as per the document, the registration can be revoked, project can be taken over. Now tell me, in this country, where political influences run high, and especially in real estate business, an officer who is serving bureaucrat in the government and under current political system, many of the bureaucrats come with the where they come because of political patronage. So are we handing over this business to politicos? I can't understand the logic of drafting this bill. Mind you, we need a regulator. CREDAI wants a regulator, but a regulator which is in true sense regulator. Today, even after my first approval, I have to depend on various NOCs and certificates till completion. The maximum number of complaints are due to delay in completion. In 2008, we saw bankers granted loans, even issued first installment, and then withheld further disbursement. If these stakeholders are not going to be part of this regulator or coming within the ambit of this regulator, how are you going to regulate the industry? This whole drafting talks of consumer protection, offense against consumer. If consumer is the only focus, then why not give teeth to consumer courts and make them fast track redressal forums? Also, CREDAI has already initiated mission transparency. We say every developer must mention carpet areas or P-line built up area of the premises. Then make it into legislation that anybody not mentioning it can be booked and punished for offenses. But why create such a large establishment by investing hundreds of crores of rupees? And to achieve what? A short-term political mileage. or a long-term consumer pain. Ultimately, if this office of regulator becomes breeding ground of corruption, will consumer get protection? Will consumer really get relief? And who will direct, who will govern those who are important element during the process of development? What we require is a sitting High Court judge who is accountable to the judicial system, not the retired one, to be regulator. Also, what we need is the comprehensive regulator. Telecom, insurance, energy, they have regulators. But there are instances where regulator has directed government against their own policies. This is what we need here. If this industry has to come out of a clutches of corruption, and if this industry has to be efficient, if this industry has to see cost reduction, then you need a regulator which is regulator in true sense. We see various comparison of regulator across the globe. Sir, when you pick and choose, that's not going to give you correct policy. If there are certain criteria, certain compulsions, then look at them. They have 100% closure on funds. They don't have to worry about capital raising. Their approvals are online. You file your plans online and you get approval online. So please do not compare regulators worldwide, because you are still living in Adam and Eve era as far as this industry is concerned. Also, I fail to understand what is the logic of 70% revenues going into separate bank account to be utilized for construction. In Mumbai, the construction cost may be 20% of the sale price. In Delhi, it may be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. In few cities, it may be 50 or 70 or maybe 80. What is the logic of this 70%? Then you will say state governments are given liberty to change this percentage. But why this percentage? If at all it has to be tagged, it has to be tagged to the construction cost, to the development cost, and not to the revenue. Therefore, this bill in present form is a piece of legislation which will be counterproductive and which will fail to attempt its noble cause. This bill will have to be redrafted, and mind you, in consultation with all stakeholders, including us. Thank you.